Hello everyone. Till now, as you know, that in our previous video lectures, we have discussed what educational management is, what educational administration is, their importance, their functions, and their principles as well. Today, we will just try to understand the concept of POSDCORB. POSDCORB is an acronym widely used in the field of management and public administration. It's an acronym representing the functional responsibilities of a chief executive. That means whosoever is holding a position of a chief executive has all these functional responsibilities which are mentioned in the POSDCORB. It was Luther Gulick, an American political scientist, and Lyndall Urwick, a British management consultant, who elaborated the Fayol's management ideas in their paper named Notes on Theory of Organization in 1937. And in doing so, they built on Fayol's 14 management principles, which we already have discussed in our previous video lecture. And if you have not yet gone through it, the link is given in the description box. So they both together, they gave the idea of the POSDCORB, where I tell you that where P stands for planning, O stands for organizing, S is staffing, D stands for directing, here CO, it stands for coordinating, R is reporting, and B is budgeting. So these are all the elements of the POSDCORB. Now we will discuss all these elements one by one. So the first is our planning. Planning is a process of the outlining the work that is to be performed in a logical and purposeful manner, together with the methods that are to be utilized in the performance of this work. So it refers to the establishment of a broad draft to be accomplished and the process incorporated to implementing them. Therefore, we can say that planning determines the direction of organization. Here, the total plan, it will result in the accomplishment of the purpose for which the organization is established. And of course, this implies a clear conception of the aims of the organization. So, in order to accomplish this planning, the administrator must have vision to look into the future and prepare for what he sees. And he must see the influences that will affect the organization and the requirements that will have to be met. Our second element of the POSDCORB is organizing. Organizing refers to development of a formal structure of the organization whereby the various administrative coordinating centers and subdivisions of the work are arranged in an integrated manner with clearly defined lines of authority. So the purpose behind this structure is the effective accomplishment of established objectives. The formal structure, if we see, it should be set up in a manner which avoids the red tape and provides for a clear assignment of every necessary duty to some responsible individual. And whenever possible, standards should be established for acceptable performance for each duty assignment. Organizing means to achieve the ends, to achieve the end results. And here, the manager as a head needs all the necessary resources, including the budget, raw materials, personnel, and their expertise technology and machines. Here, the manager has to organize all the sorts of things to achieve these end results. And we know that it's not possible for a single administrator to perform all these functions. Therefore, responsibility must be assigned to others, but in a logical manner. And these individuals occupy positions along the line, and each position being broken down in terms of its own area of specialization. So, higher up the line one goes, the more general is the responsibility, and lower down the line one goes, the more specific is the responsibility. So this was the element of organizing, and our next element of POSDCORB is staffing. You know, the administrative duty of staffing, it refers to entire personal function of selection, not only selection, but assignment, training, and providing and maintaining the favorable working conditions. So the administrator must have a thorough knowledge of the staff. And it is the responsibility of an administrator to first identify expertise, skills, and experiences that are required for certain positions. The personals, they should possess energy, initiative, and loyalty. The duties of each position must be clearly outlined, and all the members of the organization, they must be encouraged to utilize their own initiative. They should also be rewarded fairly for their services. Not only rewarded, but their mistakes and blunders must be brought to their attention and dealt accordingly. So, there are some vested interests of individual employees, and that must not be allowed to endanger the general interests of all. So, the conditions of work, they should be made as pleasant as nearly ideal as possible. The next element of post-COP is directing. Direction, it lies always in the hands of the head or an administration, or sorry, administrator of the institution. And he is the person who maintains the control over all functions. And not only he does control over all functions, but he also motivates and encourages the employees to take the challenge. Here, the administrator is the leader, and it's only because of his or her success is determined by ability to guide others successfully towards the established goals. But the individuals of weak responsibility and limited capability cannot perform this function successfully. Only a good administrator can perform this function successfully. But he must be superior in determination, in persistence, in endurance, and courage. And he must clearly understand his organization's purposes and keep them in mind as he guides and leads the way. Our next element of post-COB is coordinating. Coordinating means interrelating all the various phases of work within an organization. This means that organization structure must be clearly provided for close relationships and competent leadership in the coordinating centers of activity. Here, the duty is the duty of an administrator to synchronize different departments and bring them together with the right end goal in mind. But this duty requires the establishment of faith, which runs throughout the organization. Coordination cannot be effective until and unless there is faith. And there must be faith in the enterprise and in the need for coordinated effort. So it is the motivating factor that stimulates human beings to continue rendering services so that goals may be accomplished. There should also be coordination within administrative units outside the organization where such responsibilities are necessary. Next is reporting. Reporting is an administrative duty of supplying information to administrators or executives higher in the line of authority or to the groups to which one is responsible. It means that subordinates must be kept informed through general reports, through research, and continual observation. And in this respect, the administrator is the point of intercommunication. Now comes a clear report. A clear report, it keeps communication open throughout the entire organization, and reporting provides insight into the progress of organization, into the problems with employees, with new processes and performances as well. Now, our last element of post-COB, which is budgeting. As the word implies, budgeting refers to financial planning and accounting. So it is the duty of the administrator to allocate funds to subdivisions that are allotted to the organization. But this must be done in a manner which is equitable and just. It's really necessary for any organization to maintain a proper budget, and the manager is responsible for the management, for the expenditure and control of the department's budget. And if any kind of error is found, then the manager is responsible for the actions. So these were the elements of the post-COB. I hope you have understood all these elements. Now, this concept of post-COB, this faced a lot of criticism in the field of literature. I'll just tell you the highlights of the criticism. As early as in 1938, when the literature began appearing in the field of public administration, they started challenging the validity of the post-corp and the concept that there could even be a rigid set of principles in administration. Then later in 1946 and 47, a prominent public administration scholars, there were so many, they started releasing the articles in books and started criticizing the post-corp and the principles notion. And one of the prominent scholars, as Simon, in his article Proverbs of Administration, he challenged the post-corp principles and stated that for almost every principle one can find an equally plausible and acceptable contradictory principle. And among other criticisms, Simon also states that the post-corp principles are an oversimplification of administration. There were other so many criticisms that were involved, and one was that there was a lack of evidence for the post-corp. Yet others argue that organizations are full of variety and are challenging to control. So this was all about the post-corp. It's all the elements that we discussed and the criticism too. I hope you have enjoyed the lecture and learned something from it. Till then, stay safe and stay positive, and please don't forget to press the bell icon so that you never miss the new upload. Thank you very much.